Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Kraken Packs video. I am your host, MrBevers. That's right, we're back again. This time, we're getting a pre-release kit of Innistrad Midnight Hunt. Let's see if we can find some spicy pulls, or even just talk about the limited format, because I enjoy talking about limited choices. Now, remember also that I generally don't partake in preview season as much as I can avoid it, basically. So there may be some cards that I read that you're like, oh, we already all know what that does, Mr. B, and I'll be like, look, I haven't played enough with the set yet. I don't necessarily know what everything does. We should do this, right? Like, let's just do this, right? Let's split it like this. Here you go. There's the first half of the code. Are you ready? Second half later in the video. That's right, everybody. First half of the code. I leave it on the screen long enough for everybody? You can pause it. It's fine. Let's see what we find. Okay, we're gonna do a bit of a build kind of thing. Duel for Dominance is actually not a bad little removal spell. It's a fight card for 2 mana. Instant speed though. That's what makes it decent. It's instant speed, so you can cast it whenever you want, which is nice. No Way Out's not bad. The Spirit is pretty decent. Because it's flat. It's got flash, right? So I mean, like, it's not terrible. Sungold Barrage does a lot of work. I've seen it, like, murdering a lot of things. There are a lot of things with 4 toughness in this format. For instance, this one right here. Our first flip card was a Gale Drifter. I'm not, like, super set on this card. Yeah, it's a flyer that comes back as a flyer, but, like, if your opponent's using removal spells to get rid of it, great. But if they have other flyers that block it and kill it, getting a 2/2 back for a 3/2 doesn't really do much for you. We got a Bloodline Collector as our first uncommon. Second uncommon is a Grizzly Ghoul, 4/3 trample, zombie bear. Grizzly Ghoul enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it for each creature that died this turn. That's pretty cool. Okay, so we got our uncommon flip card. So if you don't get an uncommon flip card in these packs, you get a rare or mythic flip card. That's at least what I've been noticing out of the packs I've been opening for patrons and that kind of stuff. Mystic Skull is an interesting one. It flips into the Mystic Monstrosity, which is not a bad little one. Makes all your lands have tap, add mana of any color. I feel like this is going to be a commander playable card, right? For your 4 and 5 color decks. Like, making all your lands make every color seems pretty decent for 5 mana, right? It's basically just a second Chromatic Lantern that you can run. Play it on turn 2. On turn 5, you tap it and transform it. And now all of your lands make every color you need. You have all your fixing, right? Like, it seems pretty good. Ooh, and our rare is actually a mythic. And this is the Spectral Adversary. So there's a mythic of each of these types. Each color has a mythic like this, where it has basically multi-kicker, without multi-kicker being the keyword. So, flash flying 2/1 for 2. And then when it enters the battlefield, you may pay 2 any number of times. When you pay this cost 1 or more times, put that many 1/1 counters on Spectral Adversary. Then up to that many other target artifacts, creatures, and or enchantments phase out. So, interesting. Just phases some things out. Seems like an interesting little card. Got those gorgeous lands. These lands are absolutely gorgeous. We got some tokens here. No big deal. What are we going to get from the next pack? Let's see. So we hit a mythic in the first pack. That's not too shabby, right? Startle, Olivia's Midnight Ambush. Not a bad little removal spell. Night and Day happens quite a bit in this format. This is a very good card in Limited. Because it's a 3/2 for 3 that when it switches between Night and Day, you get to look at the top 2 cards. It basically surveil, right? You look at the top 2 cards and you put 1 into your graveyard and leave 1 on top, which is kind of cool. We got a Component Collector, Crawl, Revenge of the Drowned, Ritual Guardian, another one that's not terrible. It's an okay beater in like the mono white decks. Burn the Accursed is actually not a bad little removal spell. So 5 mana instant. Does 5 damage to target creature and 2 damage to that creature's controller, and if it would die, it exiles instead. Exiling is a big deal in this format because there's a lot of stuff that comes back from the graveyard or has like disturb or has flashback. So there's lots of things that, you know, it's good to deal with exiling creatures as opposed to just killing them. We got an Ecstatic Awakener, which flips into the Awoken Demon there. Turn the Earth. Dryad's Revival. So this pack had 2 return cards from your graveyard cards, this being an instant speed one that shuffles up to 3 cards from your graveyard into your library, and then you gain 2 life, flashback for 2, so 1 mana and then 2 mana, and then this one's 3 mana and return a card from your graveyard to your hand and then flashback for 5. And then our flip card is a Mysterious Tome, which flips into, of course, the Chilling Chronicle, which is cool. It's like a pop-up book. Look at it. Look at that pop-up book. Very nice. That goes in our blue pile. And our rare is Dire Strain Rampage, which is a sorcery. So destroy target artifact, enchantment, or land. And then it basically just like lets you blow up something and gives them a land for it. We got a Plains, human token, and a checklist card thing. All right, we got, what do we got here? Raven Exorcism is fine. There's a lot of enchantments in this format as well in blue-white. So it's not terrible. It's not terrible. Return to Nature, you know, Abandon the Post. Eccentric Farmer, good in the right deck. Very good in like a Golgari Reanimate deck. Clarion Cathars, very decent. Very good card for turning on your Coven. Because it's a 3/3 for 4 that makes a 1/1. So it gives you 2 different powered creatures for 4 mana, which is nice. We got the Lunarch Veteran that flips into the Luminous Phantom. We got Vivisection. Vivisection? That must be the one, right? Additional cost. Sack a creature, draw 3 cards. Not bad for 4 mana. Our first showcase border is a Dawnheart Warden, which is the Selesnya creature, which is vigilant with Coven, and it says at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. So there you go. Then our uncommon flip card is an Overwhelmed Archivist, or Archivist, and then Archive Haunt, which is a 2/1 flyer. It says whenever it attacks, draw a card, then discard a card, so it lets you loot. And our rare for the pack is Curse of Surveillance. Beginning of enchanted player's upkeep, any number of target players other than the player each draw cards equal to the number of curses attached to that player. Good times, fun times. Good old Mountain. We got a foil here. We got a foil Dual Craft Trainer. This is a very good card in limited because it's a 3/3 first striker for 3, or for 4 I should say, but it gives a creature double strike if you have Coven, which can be very, very strong. I blew out an opponent by giving my Death Touch creature double strike, and then they had no good blocks and died immediately, and it was hilarious. You know, worked out well for me, didn't work out well for my opponent. Got our first Evolving Wilds there you go. This is another standout card. It's a 3/4 for 5, but it makes 2 2/2s along with it, so really you're getting, what is that, 7 power and 8 toughness for 5 mana, which is pretty decent. Now the 2/2s can't block, so really you're only getting 7 power and 4 toughness, I guess, in that sense. But it gives you 2 bodies to sack to things or whatever. But it also lets you exile a card, up to 2 cards, I should say, from your opponent's graveyard. And it's from graveyards, so you don't even have to pick the same graveyard. So, but in limited, very good because you get to exile their flashback cards or whatever, and you get a 3/4 and 2 2/2s. It's just very, very good. Path to the Festival, good for your fixing. Defenstrate, just a solid removal spell. 3 mana, instant, destroy target creature without flying. Homestead Courage, I've seen this played a whole bunch. I don't think it's very good. I think it's fine. I don't think it's very good. It's a 1 mana trick, don't get me wrong, but it's sorcery. And it only gives it vigilance until end of turn, and it flashes back for 1, but like, no, it's just not what I'm about. We got a Tavern Smasher here, Tavern Ruffian that flipped into that. Diregraph Rebirth, this is a very good card as well because it's 5 mana to reanimate something to the battlefield, but if things died this turn, it costs 1 less for each thing that died. So if a bunch of stuff died, you can just cast this for like a green and a black, and you can flash it back for even the same, right? Very cool. We got a Thermo Alchemist, and then we've got a Spell Rune Painter in the showcase border, which is whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So basically just prowess, right? And then but it turns into a 3/4 that gets +2/+2 until end of turn for whenever you cast an instant or sorcery. So better prowess, right? Very cool. We'll put that here, I guess. Sure. And our rare for the pack is Storm the Festival. This card actually very, very good in limited, because it's a 6 mana, put 2 giant permanents onto the battlefield from the top of your library. So you look at the top 5 cards of your library, you may put up to 2 permanent cards with mana value 5 or less from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Notably, it doesn't put them in the yard. Second of all, it doesn't say that it has to be a non-land permanent. So you can put lands into play with this if you really want to, right? I mean, it costs you 6 and it costs you 10 for the flashback, but if you whiff, like let's say you whiff and you get a couple sorceries and then a bunch of lands, you can at least put the lands into play. There is that, right? So it's not the end of the world. Not the end of the world. I've had a lot of fun with it, actually. We got a forest here, good old forest, and then a devil token and a thingy-mabob. All right. So we're at 1 mythic, 2 blue rares, a red-green rare, and a green rare. And we got 2 sweet Golgari, reanimator cards here in green-black, and we have the Dawnheart in green-white. Yeah, maybe we're gonna be black-green. Who knows? Blood Pact, not a bad little card. Bounding Wolf is fine. Blessed Defiance, just a little combat trick. This is actually a really strong card, because it can't be blocked, and all you have to do is pay 3 mana. So it's a 3/6 that just gets in for 3 every turn, as long as you have 3 open mana. So not too shabby. This is actually a fairly strong card as well. A 5/4 for 5 mana with Trample is already pretty good as it is. But if your opponent was dealt damage before this turn, before you cast this, it gets a 1/1 counter on it, which means it comes in as a 6/5 for 5 mana, which is fairly good. Here's one of these enchantments that I was talking about. This is a common. So this is a common that basically turns your creature into a wall that can't deal damage, but can be dealt damage. So it just sits there, and then it can die if you block with it, kind of thing. Or they can just pay the 3 and exile it if they want, right? Only if you control 3, yeah. So they have to have Coven for it, but like, it's still a thing. This is not a bad little card. Like, this is basically Lightning Bolt, right? If it's nighttime, this is Lightning Bolt. So, I mean, Nightling Bolt, right? Is that what it's called? I think that's the name for it, right? If that's not the name for it, that is the name for it now, right? We've got Tireless Hauler as our flip card. Sorry, that flips into the Dire Strain Brawler. We got another Dual Craft Trainer. Another first striker. We got a Clear Shot. Very good removal spell in green. 3 mana, and then you give it +1/+1 until end of turn, and it deals damage equal to its power to target creature. So it's not a fight, it just deals its damage, which is very good removal spell. Covert Cut Purse. Okay, it's a 2/1 for 3 that blows up a creature if they was dealt damage this turn, kind of thing. So like you can attack, and then the problem with this is it doesn't have flash, so you can't do it on block. Like you can't get your opponent on like a really good block for you, like block with a 1/1 kill their thing kind of thing. So very situational. It's still not bad. It's just not as good as it could be, right? But it does have Disturb, which means it comes back as a 2/2 flyer with Death Touch, which is not bad. A 2/2 flyer with Death Touch for 5 mana, right? That's what it's 5, right? 5 for the Disturb, yeah. So not too shabby. Oh, all right. We got Golgari Rare, Ol Stick Fingers, which is a star. Is when you cast this spell, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal X creature cards. Put all creature cards revealed this way into your graveyard, then put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Old Stickfinger's power and toughness are each equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Wow, that's really cool. I'm guessing that we're going Golgari here with this pack. Another swamp there, and then we got a foil Search Party Captain, which is this is a really good card in limited. Because it's a 2/2 for 4, but it says this spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature you attacked with this turn, and when it comes into play, you draw a card. So if you swing with a creature on turn 3, like you play a creature turn 2, swing with it, you can play that for 3 mana and draw a card, which is pretty strong. A 2/2 that draws you a card for 3 mana is very good. If you swing with 2 creatures, you can play it for 2 mana and still play another 2-drop. That's what happened to me the last time I played it in my deck. I kept playing 1-drops and then 2-drops and then having that in my hand and then swinging with both and then playing that for 2 and then having another 2-drop in my hand to play. So it worked out really well for me. Flip the switch. Okay, more Crut. This is a very, very good beater in limited. 5 mana, 7/6 with Menace. And all you have to do is sack a creature to play it, or you can pay 2 more. So it can be a 7/6 for 7, or it can be a 7/6 for 5 and sacking a creature. Not shabby, especially when you have like that zombie I was telling you about before, the Diregraph Horde, right? That makes 2 2/2s that if they attack, they die. So instead you sack it to this, and now you cast this for cheaper, right? Candlelit Cavalry, not a bad little card as well, right? Beginning of your combat, if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, it gains trample until end of turn. It's just a 5/5 for 5, very strong. Candle Grove Witch, not a bad little card for the Coven type beater decks, so not too shabby. Hobbling Zombie, just a Death Touch 2/2, right? For 3, not bad. Bait Hook Angler, which flips into the Hook Haunt Drifter. And then we've got another Blood Tithe Collector. All right. We got a Seize the Storm. Create a red elemental creature token with trample. Creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of instants and sorcery cards in your graveyard, plus the number of cards with flashback you own in exile. Oh, that's kind of cool. And this itself is a flashback card, so you get 2 of those elementals. That's pretty neat. We got a Flame Channeler, which flips into the embodiment of flame. Now, the first time I read this card, I read to pay 1 and remove all the flame counters on it. And I was like, why would I want to put any more than 1 counter on this if I'm removing them all? And then someone in chat corrected me and was like, no, it says remove a flame counter. And I went, that makes much more sense. That makes much more sense. Hey, look, here's that other half of that code. There you go. We've got our rare is Jadar, Ghoul Caller of Nephalia. Okay, so we're playing Golgari, right? There's no way we're not. Storm the Festival, Old Stick Fingers, and Jadar. And then we have the Diregraph Rebirth and the Grizzly Ghoul. We're definitely in Golgari. We might splash another color just for like the benefit of the doubt, but Jadar is great. It's at the beginning of your end step. If you control no creatures with Decayed, create a 2/2 black zombie creature. So it just gives you a 2/2 that you can swing with every turn, and or sacrifice to things that you're doing to like kill stuff or play other creatures or whatever. Like if you have a sacrifice outlet, you sack that 2/2 zombie and you get a new one every turn. So if they don't kill it, it just sits there and just poops out 2/2s every turn. We did get another foil here. We got an island. We got a foil Geist Wave. So there you go. And a Tree Folk and whatever. So definitely Golgari with this kit. I think even our black was fairly strong, right? Like if they lost life this turn, they discard. So this is like a mediocre card. Although it's a 3/4 flyer for 5. That's actually not bad. I didn't realize it was a flyer. That's quite a bit better than I was thinking. Okay, so then Hobbling Zombie, very good. More Crut, also very good. Covet Cutburst, I would like, is a maybe. Blood Pact, very good for drawing cards. Defense Straight, very good. Diregraph Horde, very good. Rotten Reunion, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. Seems fine. Doesn't seem amazing. Seems fine. Arrogant Outlaw is fine. Ecstatic Awakener is fine. Crawl is very good. Olivia's Midnight Ambush is very good. Another one of these seems good. These, yeah, okay. So our black is pretty strong. Doesn't have a lot of removal in it. It only has the 1 removal spell, the Defenestrate. Oh, it has Olivia's Midnight. So it has 2 removal spells. Not bad, but not strong. There's a lot of removal in black. But we do have this 5-drop. This is kind of like mediocre-ish. We have this 3-drop removal spell. We have this 5. Wow, we have a lot of 5-drops. Our curve is going to be real bad if this is the case. Pestilent Wolf is fine. Ooh. All right, our green might not be strong enough to support 2-mana removal spell. Ooh, our green doesn't have a lot of creatures in it. That's gonna be our problem. Our green has a lot of like helpful spells, but I mean like the eccentric farmer is fine in the 3-drop slot, but like we have no 4s. We have 1 1-drop creature. We only have 1 2-drop creature. It's a pestilent wolf. So we have no 1-drops or 2-drops in black or green. So like I would probably look at white as the other color, just because we have the Dawnheart as well. Because I mean like I would look at playing like maybe the Candlegrove Witch and maybe some of these 4-drops. Right, we have 2 of these, which are pretty decent, and we have this as a 1-drop and this as a 4-drop. Like we have some decent creatures in white and other removal spells. So I think we probably end up in Abzan. That's probably where we end up. We'd have to make some cuts and stuff and some tough decisions, but that's probably where we end up. Oh, but like maybe our promo card will change things. It's a Rockfell Veil. Well, it is technically red-green, so maybe we end up going red because we have a fixing that does red. But that being said, we do have like the Mystic Skull, and we have the Crossroad Candle Guide for fixing if we need to. So there is that, and I think like we're definitely sticking to Golgari for sure. Our black is too strong not to play. I think it's just a matter of figuring out what we play with the black, and the green I think is too strong to not play. Like the Rebirth, the Ghoul, and the Old Stick Fingers and Storm the Festival are too strong not to play in this deck. And the thing about Storm the Festival is it's okay to play Storm the Festival with this many 5-drops, because you can put them into play for free from the top of your library. You just have to have a hope that they're there, I guess. But like the more 5-drops you have, the more likely you are to get 5-drops off the top of your library. That being said, means you're also having a harder time getting to 5 mana, but I digress. Not a bad little pool. Thank you so much everyone for watching. I have been your host, MrBevers. I hope you all enjoyed. If you missed the code, it was there. We showed both halves. You'll have to go back and rewind and see where the other second half of that code was, because we showed it off already. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, may your pulls ever be better.